Hi, my name is Elliot Teague, and for my last project, I decided to take you on the adventure of what it was like for when my parents got to come and visit me while I did a study abroad in China. I was there for a year, and about halfway through, they got to come, and we got to go to see some of the most famous and most beautiful sites in Chinese history. So I'd love to take you on that adventure right now. So while I was there, I lived in a city called Hangzhou, which is in East China, just south of Shanghai. And my main occupation was I was a student. I learned from this lady, Wang Laoshi. She was an amazing teacher. She taught us not only the language of how to be able to just communicate in general, but also how to travel, how to order good food, what to order, what not to order at restaurants, depending on your taste of food. And she also taught us about the culture. I took a class with all international students. I was one of the two American students there, and my teacher loved us so much that she wanted to have us take a picture of her in front of this chalkboard, which we decided to one day draw a picture for her, and she loved it so much that we took her picture. Around the time that this picture was taken, my parents got to come and visit. And this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It was good to see them. It had been months since I had seen them, and this is their first visit to China ever. So I was excited to get to take them to some places that I had been, but also places that I hadn't yet been. So the first place we got to go to was in Hangzhou. It was called West Lake. This is a famous lake that if you ever visit there, people will ask if you've ever been there. It's a really beautiful place. I loved being able to visit there with them, with my parents. We got to go there actually the day that they arrived. And then that evening, we got to go and see an opera show, which was a lot of fun. Even though we didn't really understand the language, it was still fun to have that experience. And we were there so long that we actually got to see what the opera house looked like when it was at night, which is a really cool contrast, I think, to be able to see. And I love that picture. After the opera show, we got up the next morning and we took a train to Shanghai, which was wasn't that far away, is about 45 minutes away. And the most famous site that you probably are maybe familiar with is the Bund. We got to get there that night and take pictures and see lots of fun interaction going on around the Bund. And if you notice the needle tower in the picture, you'll see it in a minute. We got to actually go see it the next day up close and personal, which was a lot of fun. And we got to take a couple pictures walking around the city. This is one of my favorite buildings and just cool shots that I got to take. And even while we were sitting on the water, we got to see a really cool shot of a boat. This wasn't the only boat on the water, but it was a lot of fun to see the lights. And some had music, some didn't. This one didn't, but it was a really cool shot, I think, to be able to see that they love the tourists and the atmosphere. And so the next day, we got to go see the Pearl Tower, which was a lot of fun. And we actually got to go up on top and see the skyline of Shanghai. We got to see some of the buildings. Even one of the buildings, as you see, is under construction. It's actually built now. I was there from 2012 to 2013, and so they were in construction. But this was fun to be able to see that I had been on top and be able to see some of the view from the tower. This was looking down at one of the major intersections around the city, which was really fun. After Shanghai, the 2 days after that, we got to go to a city called Xi'an, which was a really ancient city in Chinese history. And if you know anything about the city, this has the Terracotta Warriors, which we got to go see, which was a really, really awesome experience. There I am standing in front of one of the major pits of all of the warriors. If you know any of the history about the warriors, these were made for one of the first emperors of Chinese history, and being able to, these were warriors that were supposed to guard him in the afterlife. And so some of the pits are completely done, but some still have excavation projects like this one that they're still working on, which was a lot of fun. After we went to the Terracotta Warriors, we ate one of the most famous dishes in Xi'an, which was called Yang Rou Pao Mo. It's a lamb dish with some bread in a broth. It may sound kind of strange to you, but it was really, really delicious. After we went to Xi'an, we actually got to go to Beijing. And what do you know it? We got to see one of the most famous sights in the whole world. We got to see the Great Wall of China, which was really fun. I really enjoyed it. My parents were able, if they chose one spot, they didn't know I was going to take them to the Terracotta Warriors, but this was the spot that they wanted to see, was the Great Wall. And so we got to see actually a fairly clear day, which was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed getting to go see it. And so out of all of the places that we got to visit, my favorite was probably the Terracotta Warriors, but for my parents, it had to be the Great Wall. And so that's the trip that they got to take, and I got to take them on as well while I was there. I also wanted to say that all the photos and media that was in this presentation I own, but I hope you enjoyed getting to see my trip that I got to take, and thank you so much.